Thank you for the opportunity to present Pathlight. Our audience today is venture and strategic healthcare investors with experience in oncology diagnostics. We're raising $15 million in Series C growth round to scale commercialization, fund perspective on clinical trials, and expand indications and reimbursement coverage. Pathlight is a commercial stage LDT with Medicare coverage for select indications. We have completed analytical and retrospective validation and are now moving into prospective clinical utility studies. This funding will help us move from early traction to broader market adoption and reach the full potential of our platform. Pilot is an ultrasensitive minimal residual disease test for early detection of cancer recurrence in patients with solid tumors. Cancer remains a leading cause of death worldwide. Even after treatment, recurrence is common and often detected too late. Patients can relapse even after appearing to be in remission because current monitoring methods are not sensitive enough. Treatment decisions are frequently made without clear information on individual risk, leading to overtreatment, preventable relapses, and higher costs. By the time recurrence is detected, the optimal window for intervention has often passed. Pathlight addresses a critical unmet need by identifying patients at risk for cancer recurrence after treatment. Traditional scans and blood tests often detect recurrence too late, limiting opportunities for early intervention. By detecting signs of recurrence earlier than standard methods, Pathlight gives clinicians actionable information to personalize monitoring and treatment, improving outcomes while avoiding unnecessary therapy. Pathlight is designed to integrate seamlessly into routine oncology care and use a centralized CLIA-certified lab model which can scale broadly to support adoption and reimbursement. As mentioned, this is an ultrasensitive tumor-informed minimal residual test that can track circulated tumor DNA to detect trace levels of residual cancer after treatment. It focuses on patient-specific tumor signals that are more stable than typical mutations, allowing for early detection of recurrence. The test helps guide treatment and monitoring by identifying patients with early molecular signs of disease. Its clinical value is supported by retrospective analysis and ongoing prospective studies. Pathlight's workflow combines precision genomics with ultrasensitive detection to monitor MRD. First, tumor profiling is performed using archival tumor tissue and whole genome sequencing to identify structural variants that are specific to both the patient and their tumor, creating a unique molecular fingerprint. Second, the assay design selects the most stable structural variants and develops a customized multiplex digital PCR assay, enabling ultrasensitive detection. Third, the longitudinal monitoring tracks this molecular fingerprint in ctDNA over time, providing precise MRD measurements to support ongoing risk assessment and therapy monitoring. This workflow combines technical rigor with practical applicability, making it scalable for real-world oncology use. Pathlight is designed for patients with early-stage solid tumors who have completed curative intent treatment and currently show no evidence of disease on imaging. These patients remain at meaningful risk of recurrence, particularly those with stage 2 or 3 disease. This represents both a high unmet clinical need and a clearly defined commercialization opportunity. A well-defined population also supports regulatory precision and strengthens the clinical utility framework, critical for long-term reimbursement and sustainability. Pathlight is intended to detect molecular residual disease before radiographic recurrence becomes apparent. The assay is used longitudinally to monitor recurrence risk and inform clinical decision-making, including potential risk-adapt surveillance and more precise adjuvant therapy selection. By emphasizing post-treatment monitoring and treatment guidance rather than screening or initial diagnosis, Pathlight aligns with FDA expectations for fit-for-purpose validation and CMS requirement that diagnostic results are actionable. The MRD market is growing rapidly, driven by rising cancer incidence and advances in diagnostics. Globally, it is projected to grow from $2.5 billion in 2024 to $4.5 billion by 2030, with North America representing nearly half of this revenue. In the U.S., over 2 million new cancer cases annually create a large population eligible for post-treatment MRD monitoring. Pathlight is positioned to capture a meaningful share through recurring testing, high-sensitivity detection, and multi-tumor expansion, delivering strong lifetime value per patient. In the US, Pathlight's multi-cancer opportunity currently covers roughly 360,000 new eligible patients per year out of the 2 million cases expected annually, with 252,000 in breast cancer and 108,000 in colorectal cancer. Even modest adoption generates significant revenue over the 2-year surveillance period, and expanding into additional cancer grows this addressable population. Investor support accelerates prospective studies, generating a real-world evidence physicians and payers need to unlock the full pan-cancer opportunity. The MRD space includes companies such as Natera and Guardant Health, demonstrating a strong market demand. However, the market remains far from saturated. Pathlight differentiates through enhanced analytical sensitivity, workflow scalability, and capital-efficient laboratory model. This slide compares three leading MRD platforms. While all three have multi-cancer applications, the sensitivity and lead time data shown here are based on breast cancer studies. Pathlight achieves the highest sensitivity at 100% and the longest lead time of 13.7 months before recurrence is detected by imaging. Signatera demonstrates 88% sensitivity and 10.5-month lead time, while Guardant Reveal has moderate sensitivity and less than half the lead time. Pathlight's patient-specific structural variant approach enables ultra-sensitive detection, providing clinicians with more actionable lead time. Longer lead time allow earlier intervention, which can improve patient outcomes. In a market defined by trade-offs, performance ultimately determines positioning. Some platforms prioritize convenience and rapid adoption, which can limit early detection. Pathlight pushes the limits of molecular detection, delivering high performance while maintaining a practical, centralized laboratory workflow. This enables a strong sensitivity and longer lead times without adding operational complexity. Pathlight is neither the simplest test nor the most operationally complex. It strikes a balance between performance and scalability. Pathlight's clinical validation demonstrates ultrasensitive MRD detection in both breast and colorectal cancer. In breast cancer, the TRACER study confirmed high sensitivity and specificity with a median lead time of 3.7 months before recurrence is clinically visible. In colorectal cancer, the SITCA study showed a strong correlation between ctDNA detection and relapse risk, with 42.5% of patients detectable only at ultrasensitive levels. Two prospective breast cancer studies are in progress. CLARE is a multi-center surveillance study in intermediate to high-risk ER-positive, HER2-negative patients. CATER is a phase 2 trial testing whether ctDNA clearance can guide capecitabine treatment and improve outcomes. Pathlight currently operates as a CLIA CAP-certified laboratory-developed test, enabling commercialization while generating real-world data. Medicare coverage for select indications supports clinical relevance and adoption. Ongoing prospective studies are designed to further demonstrate clinical utility on patient management. FDA engagement remains a strategic consideration as evidence-base matures. Over time, there is potential for alignment with therapeutic programs where appropriate, supporting broader commercialization and future regulatory pathways. Pathlight's reimbursement strategy centers on generating robust clinical utility evidence through prospective studies that demonstrate how MRD detection can guide treatment decisions. Existing Medicare coverage for select indications confirms early reimbursement feasibility, while ongoing health economic analysis aim to quantify potential cost savings and improvements in patient outcomes. By engaging CMS early and planning expansion to additional indications, Pathlight positions itself for sustainable reimbursement as the platform scales across multiple tumor types. Pathlight's competitive advantage comes from a layered intellectual property and operational strategy that is hard for competitors to replicate. The company holds 9 issued patents with 14 more pending, covering structural variant methods and variant tracking critical to ultrasensitive MRD detection. Key technology, including the proprietary variant selection algorithm and digital PCR pipeline, is maintained as trade secrets and optimized for longitudinal monitoring. These assets cannot be reverse engineered without access to underlying data. Operating as a centralized CLIA lab adds an additional layer of protection by standardizing workflows and maintaining high quality. Combined with robust internal controls, non-disclosure agreements, cybersecurity safeguards, and the growing longitudinal dataset, these measures create a defensible MRD platform that competitors cannot easily duplicate or use to capture market share. Pathlight's revenue model is straightforward. Each test is reimbursed at $3,652 for tumor-informed MRD monitoring. Because surveillance is longitudinal, repeat testing every 3 to 4 months over the first 2 years creates predictable recurring revenue stream. Over that period, each patient can generate roughly $29,000 in revenue. Beyond clinical use, Pathlight offers strategic growth opportunities through pharmaceutical collaborations. MRD monitoring can inform trial design, guide patient enrollment, and support therapeutic development, creating additional revenue streams and position the platform for expansion into multiple tumor types. To reach the target of $50 million in revenue, approximately 1,700 active patients over 2 years are required, representing less than 1% of the combined eligible cancer population that was mentioned in a previous slide. To serve these patients, about 171 oncologists will be needed, roughly 1% of the 15,600 non-hematological oncologists in the country, each managing around 10 patients with 4 oncologists per site. This translates to 43 sites. This is a small fraction of the nearly 1,400 accredited hospitals and cancer centers nationwide. A focused adoption plan will support uptake by engaging key opinion leaders, provide real-world evidence at conference, and deploy small specialized sales force to train physicians and support test ordering throughout the surveillance period. Pathlight has already completed key foundational milestones, including analytical validation, retrospective clinical validation, and the initial LED commercial launch in early-stage breast cancer. Reimbursement for select indications further reduces commercial risk and validates clinical demand. Current and upcoming priorities focus on expanding evidence and market reach. Prospective clinical trials, including CLARE and CATER, are underway to generate data supporting treatment decision-making and broader reimbursement coverage. Commercial scale-up in 2026 includes a target launch of colorectal cancer, beginning with high-volume oncology centers and early adopters. This rollout is supported by dissemination of CITCA data, payer engagement for coverage expansion, and focused sales execution. Looking ahead, multi-tumor expansion follows a disciplined model: validate clinically, secure coverage, then scale commercially. This phased approach balances scientific rigor with practical commercialization, positioning Pathlight for sustainable growth. The launch strategy prioritizes high-impact academic centers to build early clinical credibility and key opinion leader advocacy, while simultaneously preparing for expansion into community oncology networks, where the majority of patients are treated. Adoption is driven by strong clinical data, peer-reviewed publications, and visibility at major oncology conferences. Commercial execution combines a focused oncology specialized direct sales force with medical science liaisons to ensure both relationship development and scientific depth. To date, Saga Diagnostics has raised nearly $18 million across 6 funding rounds, including $12.48 million in Series A2 in 2021. The company is currently generating an estimated $13.8 million in annual revenue and has successfully launched Pathlight as CLIA LDT for breast cancer, with expansion into colorectal cancer underway, demonstrating early commercialization traction. We are raising $15 million in growth capital to advance Pathlight's key strategic priorities. About 40% will fund clinical evidence generation, including prospective multi-center studies and patient recruitment. 25% will expand commercialization and medical affairs through sales teams, medical science liaisons, conference presence, and KOL engagement. 20% is allocated for regulatory quality infrastructure, covering compliance, standard operating procedures, FDA preparation, and audit readiness. Finally, 15% will support laboratory scale-up, including automation, staffing, equipment, sample processing capacity, and IT. This plan balances evidence generation, market adoption, and operational readiness. Based on this approach, revenue is projected to grow from roughly $10 million in year 1 to 25 million in year 2 and approach 50 million by year 3, reflecting realistic adoption timelines for molecular diagnostics. Now is the ideal time to scale Pathlight. Next generation sequencing MRD testing is increasingly recognized for guiding early cancer interventions, and recent FDA guidance provides clear development pathways. Coverage is expanding as CMS and commercial payers acknowledge clinical value. With the market shifting towards personalized risk-adapt cancer monitoring, being among the first to offer an ultrasensitive tumor-informed MRD platform positions Pathlight to capture market leadership. In summary, Pathlight provides earlier detection, personalized monitoring, and actionable insights to help clinicians make better decisions. With $15 million in funding, we can accelerate clinical validation and commercialization, positioning Pathlight to become the standard for tumor-informed MRD monitoring. We invite you to join us in bringing this transformative technology to patients and healthcare systems. Together, we can change the way cancer recurrence is detected and treated. Thank you for your time.